Welcome to the Collective Perspective. This is a collaborative program with friends that share an interest in the truth as it is, not simply as we wish it would be. Tonight we interview Charley Johnson, Vice President of the Pay It Forward Foundation, with Isaac Connor, Leanne Hively-Insulaco, Neil Whitelaw, and Walt Petrosky.
What if the world is just a big disappointment? Unless you take the things that you don't like about this world and you flip them upside down, and you can start that today.
That's me. And that's 3 people. And I'm going to help them. But it has to be something really big. Something they can't do by themselves. So I do it for them. Then they do it for 3 other people. That's 9. And I do 3 more.
27, so I'm not really good at math, but it gets big really fast, you know? Yep. All right. A little articulation, please.
Yes.
I think it's a good idea.
Sean?
It's stupid.
Adam?
It's the honor system.
People blow off the honor system.
So what? Just because you do.
Well, Trevor, the class seems to think that you've come up with an overly utopian idea. Look that word up in a minute.
Like a perfect world? It's almost like a chain. And then you start off at the top with one person, eventually it gets millions and millions, eventually billions of people.
I think Pay It Forward is that one thing that 6.9 billion people can be a part of. Whether you have money or whether you live off $2 a day, you can open a door for someone. You can make someone smile. You can create something in their mind that makes them happier. Pay It Forward is pure, it's genuine, it's simple. I don't know how many more times we can repackage a self-help book with 5 to 10 steps of how to be a better person, how to be more successful, written by an author who probably did not even live those steps. What if there was a continuous reminder that could remind you to do good? And not only that, we don't want you to wear that bracelet all the time. We want you to wear it to get rid of it. We want you to do something nice to someone. We want you to remember to do something nice, that it's your turn to reach out to someone to help. And as soon as you're done, you take this off and give it to the person you just helped. So it creates that really simple ripple effect. I just don't understand why people don't wake up and want to help others.
Charley is a part of the Pay It Forward Foundation, as well as the movement that most of us are aware of. And I personally found out about Pay It Forward because of the movie. And the first 3 times, as I was sharing with Charley in a phone call, I cried like a little girl the first 3 times that I saw the movie. And it's just so profound. And I think it just really touches on something that's to the core of what it means to be a human being. And about 3 years ago is when I got heavily might be a strong word, but I got strongly involved in the movement in that I ordered the bracelets from the foundation and went about into parks and communities on Pay It Forward Day and passed them out. I got a lot of bizarre looks from people who thought I was selling something, but it was interesting to watch that change. Having a sales background, I'm used to going up to strangers and basically trying to get something from them. And in this case, I was not trying to get anything from them at all. So to watch that look on their face that says, oh boy, what am I about to be sold, to change into kind of like, it was like the doors opened in their eyes after I actually told them what I was doing. And so I went about doing things like that, as well as going through tolls and paying for the person behind me or the grocery store, just whatever I could do to make it feel like I was paying it forward. And I've had it happen to me a couple times in the past 3 years. But Anyway, Charley's the vice president of the foundation, so I'd like for Charley to give us an idea of who he is and who he is in Pay It Forward. So please, Charley.
Well, I kind of like you. The movie is really what kicked it in for me. I was 20 at the time when it came out. I was negative. I hated my parents, hated my job, hated everything about the world. Everyone was wrong but me. And there was just a few scenes in the movie that made it that just changed how I viewed the world. As a kid, you grow up needing permission for everything. You need a permission to have a cookie. You need permission to play games. You need a permission to play with your friends. And I think we kind of fall into that with the same thing for good stuff. That movie showed me I didn't need permission to give away something or give money or to help someone or make someone smile. And it just changed. So from there on, we always did Pay It Forward stuff. One of the big things, I don't know who taught it to me or whoever brought it up, but if you really want to know who an individual is, take them to dinner and watch how they treat a waiter. Well, that's something where I became very big in people watching, and I didn't like how people treated waiters. I didn't understand, because one was sitting and one was standing, that they wouldn't catch eye contact, or they would treat them like a servant, or I really didn't like that relationship. So we always left big tips even before we had money, and we'd always write a little note on the receipt that said, I hope you have a better day. Here's a good sized tip, blah, 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 pay it forward. Well, you know as well as I do, it's just a receipt. And that piece of paper was more than likely lost, torn up. I'm sure it impacted some, but everyone just went on their day. About 4 years ago, we created, I'm sure you guys can see this, is the Pay It Forward bracelet that you were talking about, Isaac. And it started out with a few hundred and a few thousand. And you talked about how a lot of people thought you were weird with that. That's the best thing about the bracelet, is it takes a very awkward situation between the receiver and the giver and allows them to be okay with what just happened. And why a 10-cent piece of silicone from overseas in China does that, I can't tell you. I'm not going to lie to you. But it does. It does. It just has this profound impact that to physically, as the giver, to have to touch this and give it and say, this is why I did this, and for the receiver to reach out, touch you, and take it, it just turned into something powerful. So it went from a couple thousand to 10,000 to 100,000 to hundreds of thousands to countries to everything. And to date, we've sent over 1.1 million of them to 113 countries. And those bracelets were actually out of our own pocket. That is something that I'm a big believer in leading by example. So I didn't want to charge for the bracelets. I didn't want to make money off the bracelets. So we found a way to make sure that these 1.1 million bracelets were produced, shipped, and made it to the hands of the unbelievable amounts of requests we have received. So 1.1 million, 113 countries. I was fully engulfed in my business that I had for 15 years. And about 2 years ago, the foundation had requested that I be the president of the foundation 2 years in the future. So at that point, I was, again, fully engulfed in my business. That was all I cared about, money, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, well, when 2 years comes around, I'll just tell them I'm busy and it won't work out. Well, it's amazing what has changed in the past 2 years. I just kind of, something was pushing me in a different direction. And I didn't feel the same I did at work that I used to. I didn't have the same passion. I didn't have the same drive. And it just so happens that 11 months ago, I walked away from my business and an amount of money that would make it so I'd never have to work again. And it just so happened that the 2 years that they asked me to take over was this January. And I was 8 months removed from my business that I had known for half of my life, and it felt right. So it had a really weird way and coincidental way and just crazy way of working out. But yeah, I left the company, and we gave this movement direction. I think the one thing it's been lacking is someone to really give the movement, the foundation, direction, to respond to all emails, to respond to all requests, to respond to all the people who want to get involved, give them a way to get involved, and just be
kind of like that moth to a flame.